Hey guys, I'm Marcus Maldonado. Welcome to Stuff I Wish I Knew. This podcast is sponsored by Jungle Official Apparel. Their motto is very interesting. It is a clothing brand that it is encouraging greater individual heights with construction of a healthy lifestyle. You can shop now at jungleofficial.com and enter my code STUFF to get extra savings. Again, that is jungleofficial.com. My guest today is my mechanic, my technician, Gary Martinez. You know, this past episode, if you listen to it, I talked about the importance of learning a trade. And it was funny, I wasn't thinking of interviewing him at all. You know, he never came to mind. But I ran into an issue with my car this past weekend where me and some friends were heading down to Salt River Tubing. And this is about 30 miles away from Tempe, Arizona. And I'm on the freeway and I'm going 70 miles an hour. I have it on cruise control. And I'm driving the HOV lane. And all of a sudden, I hit something in the road. You know, it's like maybe a tire. But my car jumped up and down like, you know, going over a speed bump. And my car started glitching out. You know, all the screens were going on and off. And the car shut down. So I lost all power to the car. I lost power steering. And I'm just coasting. And I have control of the driver wheel. So I pull all the way off to the right. And stop. I had to cut off a bunch of people to not, you know, end up in the middle of the freeway. But without even, you know, getting out of the car, I'm like, you know what? Let me just try and see if this car starts up. And without a doubt, this car starts up. This car is a 2015 Hyundai Sonata. Anyways, you know, the entire trip, you know, heading down to the Salt River, I was terrified that the car wouldn't start or we were going to get stranded. But, you know, I didn't want to let down my friends and say, hey, I can't go. We need to delay it. The car does fine there and back. But the next day, I called my mechanic, my technician, Gary Martinez. And he takes a look at it. And, you know, I'm terrified. I'm like, oh my goodness, something's totally wrong with the car. I don't know what's, you know, this part's going to be so expensive. It's going to be so expensive to fix. And Gary pulls out, you know, a couple tools here and there, tightens the battery down. You know, he said it was loose wiring, and that was it. But this blew my mind. You know, I was terrified of how much this was going to cost. And I don't know, I think it's awesome to have, you know, somebody that's as educated as him and does it as, you know, fairly priced as possible. And I don't know, I think it's just awesome that, you know, we just talked about the importance of learning a trade this past episode. And now I'm bringing in somebody that, you know, does that firsthand. You know, he works for a dealership and he also works at home. And in this episode, I think Gary, and he also throws in a few interesting facts about, you know, just cars in general and how they work, and also the runnings of a dealership and, you know, what goes on behind the scenes. And he also gives some pointers to, you know, anybody that has a car. So I think it's a great episode to listen to. These episodes, I usually talk, you know, with my guests for almost 2.5 hours. So it's so hard to filter down a conversation and try to attach ideas together, you know, because I wanted to make these episodes, you know, at least an hour short. But it's so hard, you know, it's so densely compact, and, you know, it's a lot of knowledge flowing. But, you know, let me know if you think the podcast is missing anything, or if you would prefer the podcast to be the full conversation. I think a lot of people lose attention after the first, 30 minutes. But let me know what you think of this episode. I start off with this question to Gary of how mechanics only learn there's some mechanics that only, work on American cars, US made cars. And there's people like my mechanic, Gary, where he works on Japanese cars. So I ask him how people get into these, just work on these cars. So here's Gary. He'll take it from here. Thanks for listening, guys.
It comes down to knowing how to fix a car. And if you're not familiar with that, you're gonna run into some problems. You're gonna run into some issues where, and then you need a special tool, or you need something, or you're googling, you're looking up. So it's taking time to do something simple, and that's why a lot of people don't. A lot of people just stick to what they know because it's quicker, it's faster. You give me a Honda, and I can tear it apart, dude. Especially a Honda, you can take it all apart, leave the bolts in a fucking bucket, shake the bucket. I'll know exactly what bolt goes where.
That's cool.
Just because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what tool I need, and with experience comes speed. And so you're trying to, the object of being a mechanic and being a technician is you want to make money. Everybody's doing their job to make money, and the way a mechanic gets paid, they get paid by the job. So if a job pays 2 hours, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, you're still gonna get 2 hours.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So what I'm saying is like for example, if a radiator on a Honda pays me 2 hours, right? So, and that's the book rate. So I'm at the dealership. A car comes in, they need a new radiator. They say, okay, here you go, Gary. Here's your work order. You're doing a new radiator. Cool. It pays 2 hours. If I can take that radiator out, and honestly, it probably takes me about half an hour to do the whole job. But so I got to disconnect hoses and drain the fluid and take the fans out, do all that stuff.
Right.
Put the new radiator in, bleed the system. Life is good, and you move on. If that process takes me an hour and 10 minutes, I still get paid 2 hours. So
that number is set in a book, like, a radiator takes 2 hours.
2 hours.
Replacing an engine is days, or
it
just set categories, set items that have pay.
So like Hyundai and Kia have an issue with engines right now. On their older cars, their engines are just, because I've replaced brand new engines on brand new cars. I remember when I was working at Hyundai in Tempe, it was 2011 or 12, and it was a brand new, the Santa Fe. Same engine, SUV, same engine, with a rod knocking noise. It had like 200 miles on it, and we removed the oil pan, and you see metal debris everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. And so like I said, there's articles that I read, and one of them says that in the manufacturing plant, when they're making these engines and they're putting them through, they forgot to clean them. So you got metal shavings everywhere. And these oil clearances are so tight, so, you know what I mean, from metal to metal, there's a clearance for the oil.
But not for the metal.
And no, not for the metal. And so when the metal hits, when the piston's going up and down and all that, and these bearings, when there's metal in them, it's basically tearing it up.
Really?
And
just
now,
chewing it up.
And now you've got a bearing that's all chewed up, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Wow.
Because there's, the thing is spinning, at 2,500 RPMs or whatever, when you're going down.
How fast is that? Can you do that with your hands?
Sure. But what I'm saying is that engine job pays around, warranty book time pays around 6.9 hours. Or you can get like 8 hours out of it or whatever, depending on like if you get tear down or whatever. But
is that considered commission? So is that 100% commission at these dealerships?
These jobs are 100% commission at the dealerships. The only person that gets paid hourly is your lot attendant, maybe your detailers, That's it.
Really?
Well,
The salesmen are commissioned 100%.
sometimes.
So
Is it worth it to buy a new car?
it is if you don't want to mess with all the bullshit, but
The maintenance.
maintenance stuff. Because you can buy a maintenance contract, meaning, and again, it all costs you money, so it's not free.
And that's where finance.
And that's the finance, yeah.
That's
So you have the front end of the deal, okay? So the front end, and this is when I go buy a car, dude.
Oh, like the
I mean,
maintenance,
so-
like the rims and the tires and like.
Swear.
no, it's just wear and tear, but like maintenance, like oil changes.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So people lease cars because they don't want to.
Maintenance.
The maintenance, right? So they still have to change the oil and stuff like that,
They just want a flat rate.
but usually at 30,000 miles, they're done. They trade it in. They could either buy out their lease, or they can just get into another lease. And I know people like that. Every 2 to 3 years, new car, and that's the thing is, you're basically renting the car,
Right.
but you have a new car every 2 or 3 years.
There's this book, Dave Ramsey, The Total Money Makeover, where he says not to do that.
No, that's a waste of money.
Yeah, exactly. You put all that money into something that's not yours.
Yeah.
Something
It's
like
worth it if you don't want to mess with anything, and you just basically
Just take it in,
you're taking it in and you're saying, here are my keys,
figure out.
do what it needs. I've got it. It's already paid for. I don't have to make any decisions of my own.
So you could go to any. Do you have to go to the dealership for that?
You do. You have to. Yeah. Now there's some places where, like, if you buy a car here, and we sell you this in-house, because I've ran into that with some customers, and they get upset because they buy their car from, like, Joe's Hyundai dealership, right? And they buy their car and it's in Denver, Colorado, and sure enough, they fudge the truth. They say, oh yeah, you could take it to any Hyundai dealership, they'll take care of you. That is true. You can take it to any Hyundai dealership, and if you have a problem with a wheel bearing, radiators leaking,
Anything.
just anything, you can take it to any Hyundai dealership, and if we find that the component is failed and it is a covered item, we'll take care of it, under warranty. But their maintenance part, whereas I remember this lady, she came in, she wanted a 15,000 mile service. She was from Colorado. I have my service contract where everything's covered. I don't have to pay, and I said sure. So I'm thinking it's the GM&A contract, which GM&A is that's a company that provides these service contracts.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking it's one of theirs. I run her VIN number, boom, nothing. Okay. Which, can I see your paperwork? Okay, let's call the 1-800 number. We call the 1-800 number, and come to find out that she has to take it to the selling dealer for that service.
Wow, so in Colorado,
So we got on the phone and we called the service manager in Colorado, and she was livid because now she paid, I think, $2,000 or $3,000 for this service, and she bought it in Colorado, but she's living here now. Well, obviously she's not gonna drive all the way over there to get her service, So she was like, "Oh, you guys knew. I told you I was moving. Why would you?" I'm sorry, man. And it never fails. The guy no longer works here. But yeah, and he no longer works there because he's a fucking snake. Because he took advantage. Dude, anything that you buy from the dealership, anything that you buy extra, additional, it's money in that person's pocket. And it's not all a bad thing. You know what I mean? You can get a good, like, extended warranty, a great extended warranty, but the finance guy makes a commission check out of that. And and that's why people go to work. That's why those guys go to work, because they're obviously, the more they sell, the more money they make, and the bigger paycheck they get.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was thinking, my grandma got screwed over too, but even with me, man, going to that finance person's office, man, I knew it right away as soon as I was in there. I'm like, this is so so typical because they're like, oh, they try to relate something to you, and I know all the, I've read every book on like sales pitches
Yeah.
and how to persuade people, and that's
Yeah,
they're
you
trying to butter
find
you up, and then
common
like
ground.
finding common ground,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what it is, and it's
And you just have to do your homework, dude. Here's the thing. I wish it was as easy as, you find a watch, and this is before internet. Obviously everything you can look up online and buy it online and get it delivered to your house. But before the internet, you see a watch or whatever at the store, and you just go, and that watch is $100. It's $100 plus tax. Boom, you buy it. Now you look at commercials and you look at ads for cars. Start, the MSRP, which is your manufacturer suggested retail price,
mm-hmm.
is $29,995, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't go over there with a $30,000 check and say I want that car, because there's more into it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, oh well, you want it. Well, this one doesn't. The one for $29.95 doesn't come with
the warranty.
With no. They all do. They all come with warranty. But like, let's just say you want yours with. If you look at the commercial, the commercial shows $29.95, whatever, right? But in the fine print, the vehicle shown in the commercial is retailed at 34 something. Why? Because of the rims. Because of it's got these wheels.
All the luxury items.
It's got the
sunroof.
It's got this package that has it's the limited package.
Okay.
Or it's the EX or whatever it is. So if you go into the dealership and you basically say, okay, I want this $29,000 car, well, we don't have it. We have this one over here. Oh, you want tint? Tint's like $400. It's $399 for tint. No, so that's and I'm way off, because that's the last time I've seen tint. I think tint right now is like $699 or whatever.
Really?
So if you go to the
dealership,
if you go to the dealership, and you see the sticker price, you'll see an addendum, and that's the small little sticker price, and that's your final price. And you see that it comes with It comes with this. So you have your standard features. Then you have your package. So if you have, like, Hyundai's got a tech package. So it comes with this. Or it's got the limited package and it comes this and this and this. Or whatever, right? Or if you want leather, it comes with leather. It comes with a sunroof. It comes with power windows, power locks, whatever. Rear view camera, all that bullshit, right? But then the wheels, then it's got this paint protection plan or paint, which is all bullshit. And that's about a G. So, this car shield stuff where if the sun burns the paint, it's covered. I've never seen one yet to be covered. I've never seen someone come in and say, my paint's faded. Can you guys paint? I'm sure they've done some claims before, and I'm sure they're
it's
out
rare.
there. But I've never seen it. I've been in the dealership industry for 15 years.
Why does there have to be a dealership though? Why can't we buy it directly from the manufacturer? Why does there have to be that middleman?
That's what I'm saying. Supposedly they're there to help you. Well, because the dealership doesn't have the manufacturer doesn't have the so, like, when something's broken, you take it to the repair shop, right?
Sure.
So like your phones, your iPhones,
Mm-hmm.
your iPhone breaks. You got to go to the iPhone store, and they'll fix it for you. So they're considered the dealership. I don't know if, like, you know what I mean? It'd be, how do you send it back to the manufacturer? And then, well, because the manufacturer's not here, obviously. Honda's manufacturers in Japan. Hyundai's in Korea. Toyota's in Japan. And so, but a lot of the manufacturers are coming here. And that's another thing, is that a lot of people think that, Hyundai, Honda, Acura, all these Japanese cars are made in Japan. That is true, but not 100%. There's some of them are assembled in Mexico. There's factories here in the States. So it just depends. Like Honda, I know for a fact. Just any car. The very first digit on the VIN number, that's where your car was made. So if it has a J on it, that means it was made in Japan. If it has a 1 on it or a 2, a 1 is here in the United States, 2 is Canada,
Okay.
3 is Mexico. So
That's interesting.
yeah, and here's the crazy thing, and I know this from experience. When a customer calls me and says, "Gary, my window doesn't want to roll up, or it won't roll down, or whatever," and I say, "Okay," so I diagnose it. You know, they bring it in and I check it out for them, and it's a window regulator. Depending on their VIN number, if it's a 1 or a 2, that window regulator can cost me around $60, $40, $40 to $60.
Uh-huh.
If it's got a J for Japan, that window regulator can be 100, 130, 140.
Why?
Because of the import.
You have to import it?
Well, yeah, it's
Why does it have to be that part? They don't make it here? Why can't? Really?
yeah. So it's a Japanese-made vehicle. So now you can't. I've never tried it. I guess I should try it once, but I don't think you can put an American-made car part into a Japanese car.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think. I think it's different.
Why is it engineered differently?
I don't know, but I will tell you this: I've owned a Honda Accord once,
Uh-huh.
and it was Japanese made.
Mm-hmm.
That car, man, I put like almost 200,000 miles on it. That silver car. Not once did I break a window regulator. And I've replaced window regulators on cars that still under warranty,
Wow.
like 30,000 miles.
Really?
When I was working at Honda, we'd be replacing window regulators left and right.
Would that be American made though, or
Yeah, that's
really?
why.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's American made.
Well, even with my uncle, he has an Acura, and he's had it since like 2005. He has 320,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I was over at Honda in Tempe,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a little Civic there with 1,000,000 miles.
Really?
Yep. And from what I understand is that they bought the car back from the owner to display it. Had all his records of every freaking
Oil
oil
change.
change, every timing belt, every tune-up,
Really?
everything. Yeah.
From the start to
From the start
to $1 million?
till 1,000,000.
Wow.
And they basically, I think they gave him a car.
Oh, I'm sure they have to.
So they gave him money for his car and they gave him a car. And this thing was old and beat up, and I mean it wasn't in a bad shape. But so it comes down to this: if you take care of a car, any car, it's gonna last long. But the thing is, in my case, because I've got the proof. My Honda, my Japanese made Honda, dude, it lasted me a long time. Again, not once did I replace a window regulator. I replaced the starter one time, and that's it. No alternator. The battery several times because you live in Arizona. We drove that car everywhere, huh, Gary?
Living in Arizona
That
ruins it?
silver Honda Accord.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
With the sunroof worked perfectly. Had no problems with the sunroof.
But if you have a battery in Arizona, that's bad? Or
No. So a battery in Arizona, the heat,
Just kills you?
we live in an extreme
environment.
and so heat kills everything. Heat, oxygen, all that stuff. It just kills everything.
So how long would like a battery last that's
In
California?
Arizona, 2 to 3 years.
And then in like California, like a pristine condition? Where's like
5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like San Diego is a good. You know what? To be honest with you, every place is considered extreme because of something different. California, you got the salty air.
Yeah, moisture, humidity.
Humidity.
And the East Coast, it's like winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. And so you need those cold cranking amps so that you can start your car.
Really?
Yeah, well, in the
Wow.
in the freezing cold. But here the batteries they do it, and it amazes me to deal with customers that don't know this and they've lived here for a long time. And then you get the customers that are really, really cool and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's time for a new battery. I don't even want to chance it. It's been 2 years. Just put a battery in it."
Right.
They already know. And then there's a customer where I tell them, I show them, I say, "Your battery failed." "Oh, it's still good." "Okay." Sure. I'll tell you one thing. If the battery on my car is failing and my wife is in the car and she takes it to work and she goes to Circle K and gets a drink and this and that, and then all of a sudden she gets in the car and dies, who do you think she's gonna call? She's gonna bitch me out. What the fuck? You know, car doesn't want to start, this and that, and blah blah. Now everybody nowadays has basically AAA or whatever, or some kind of a roadside assistance. But if you don't, what is she gonna do? Ask for jumper cables? Hey, can I get a jump? Can I get a jump? Can I get a jump? And then like in that Camaro, the battery is underneath. It's in the trunk underneath the spare tire.
Really?
Jump
Yeah.
it?
Have you ever had any other, like, like other than, I mean, you explained like your how you messed up on that car that you didn't really understand that American
Yeah.
made, but do you have any like success stories where you like did something?
All the time. No, all the time, bro. Every here's the thing: when your car breaks down, a lot of things go through your head. The first thing being money, you know. So when a car breaks down, you're like, oh shit, how much is this gonna cost me and this and that. And then of course you get people that call me all the time. Hey, I need help. Can you help me? My car's breaking down because that's your car. It takes you to work. You go to work to make money, and then you make money to pay your bills and live a little, right? So obviously they're like, man, I don't. I'm on a tight budget. Most of us are in a tight budget. I think Dave Ramsey was saying that, what, like 70% or something like that, live paycheck to paycheck or something.
I'm
like
sure,
that.
yeah.
So a lot of people don't have money. So they come out to me, and I tell them, oh yeah, dude, I know what it is. To them, they're like, man, what the hell is going on? I don't even know how much this is. And then all of a sudden I tell them, dude, don't worry about it. It's probably like a $30 fix. And I'll fix their car, and before you know it, they're on the road and they're happy and they're like, holy shit, dude, I didn't even know I had. And so yeah, success stories all the time,
That's awesome.
all the time. I work on. So I take care of this old lady's car, and she's followed me since my Honda days, which has been since 2007. So 11 years, and she's on her third Honda
Really?
since then, and she calls me all the time, and this is what I tell people. I said, take your car to the dealership for like an oil change or whatever. The reason why you want to do that is because there's recalls that come up, a lot,
Right.
and often the recalls come in and you don't get a notice. So you wanna if especially if the dealership is got like a sale or a special, take it in. You got a Honda, take it to a Honda dealership. You got an Acura, take it to the Acura dealership. The reason being is that they run your VIN number. They have to, for one. They run your VIN number. Boom! It flags them. It says, "Oh shoot, you've got a recall for an ECM update," which is, you know how your cell phone does an update
Mm-hmm.
every so often.
Yeah,
You
the
got to do an
update
update.
system. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to update the system. Same thing with these cars because they're computerized now. So you take it in, you get your update. Now, the mechanic or the technician, I should say, he's looking at 4/10 to 6/10 to 8/10, whatever the job pays him to do that oil change. The update usually pays them 3/10.
Three
So-
tens?
Yeah, 3/10 of an hour.
Oh, 3/10.
Yeah, 3/10 of an hour. And so all of this money, every car he touches,
Mhm.
he's getting paid flat rate, and he gets paid. So if that technician gets paid $15 an hour, at the end of the pay cycle or the pay period, if he's got 100 hours,
Mhm.
technically 100 times $15 an hour, he got himself a $1,500 paycheck, and then minus the taxes and all that, and then he takes home whatever, right?
12.
So obviously the technician wants to make more money, and then he wants to make money fast.
Right.
That's the object. So I always tell people, take the car to the dealership. Why? Because that technician that is hungry for money, Now these technicians are 100% commission. They don't get paid hourly.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning the car goes back to him. He lifts it up in the air. He's draining the fluid. Hopefully he did the inspection on top first, right? So he checks the air filter, checks the cabin filter. He checks to see if the battery is good. He checks to see if are the hoses soft.
They just do
what
a
do the belts look like? Blah blah, this and that.
diagnosis of the car.
Yeah, just a quick glance of everything.
Mm-hmm.
On a lot of these services, we're rotating tires. So when we take the tires off the wheels, we look at the brakes.
Okay.
So fluids getting drained and all that. So anyway, we're doing an oil change. So this guy has got your multi-point inspection. And so this is what you're going to show the customer. So okay, this car needs brakes. The brake job pays the technician say 2 hours, right? And it takes him 1 hour. So he wants to make as much money because again, he's trying to make his own paycheck. So he's gonna try to upsell the customer, whatever. Okay, you need brakes, you need tires, you need alignment, you need like a fuel injector service, you need a throttle body clean, you need this, you need that, whatever it is. He gives that paperwork to the service writer. The service writer is a guy who greets you in the beginning.
The receptionist, kind of.
Nah, not really. Well, he's a guy, the guy that greets you with a clipboard, and you tell him, I'm here for an oil change, and he's the one that tells you, oh, your car has a recall. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll take care of it. Recalls are free. Don't let nobody charge you for any of them. Recalls are 100% free. It doesn't matter if it's a Honda, Hyundai, whatever.
Okay.
But you have to go to that dealer. So if you got a Chevy, take it to the Chevy dealership, whatever. So anyways, so the guy turns in the report. Now, the service writer, he basically puts everything in a nice little format so that he could present the customer. So he presents to the customer and he says, look, Mr. Customer, car looks great, yada yada yada, whatever. Hits all the positive stuff about it, about their car, makes them feel happy and shit. Then they hit him with your car needs brakes. Our brake job runs, $239.95 plus tax. We're recommending a fuel induction service that runs $169.95 plus tax. We're recommending a brake fluid exchange. We're recommending this. So it's a whole list of recommendations. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's, you know what I mean? They're telling you what's wrong with the car or what the car needs, right? And hopefully he highlights that, hey, your brakes are really bad. Obviously, your car needs brakes. You can't go without brakes because then you're going to get in a car accident. So I always tell my friends, take it to the dealership. They're going to give you a list. And they're going to give you a list of all these items. Now, at their rate, brakes $239.95. I charge $140 for brakes for the same fucking job. And I use Honda brake pads. I use
actual
OEM stuff. And I charge $140 or I charge, that's what I charge, Some brake pads are more expensive, but I charge accordingly on the side when I do stuff on the side for myself.
Mm.
But the dealer obviously is gonna, dude, I've hit up people with, $1,000 worth of shit and they'll buy it. People buy it, they trust the dealer because it's a dealer. Why wouldn't you trust the dealer, right? But here's the thing, and a lot of people don't understand, is that the dealer has some really nasty secrets, okay? Not everybody that's in the back is experienced. Not everybody that's in the back has the proper tooling, the proper knowledge. Most of those guys are learning as they go. You'll have, in every shop, you probably have one, at the minimum one, good experienced technician that knows how to diagnose a car, that knows how to do stuff. I mean, does it take? I could show Gary how to change oil, and he could be my lube guy, you know. And if something comes up where he has a question, he can come and talk to me. Hey, hey Gary, come over here. How does this, how does this look?
Right.
Should I recommend brakes or should I recommend the belt? Look at this belt. Does that look good to you? No, dude, recommend the belt. Okay, cool. Now you recommend the belt, and they say, okay, go ahead and replace the belt. If that guy is just new and doesn't know how to change out that belt, he's gonna struggle. Now remember, these jobs pay a certain amount of time. A lot of these companies. So let me back up. A lot of these dealerships, they don't pay their technicians an hourly rate. They put them on what's called a flat rate, which means, dude, I'm paying you. You're new. You have no experience. You're new. You're straight out of high school, or maybe you're switching careers and you want to be a mechanic now, and you got yourself a little handy dandy tool set, little Craftsman set, and that's all you got. And so it's cool, whatever. So we're obviously not gonna trust him to do engine repair, but we're gonna, you could change oil, and you can probably change brakes or whatever. But when you start giving this guy something to do where he's not gonna be fast because this and that, so now it puts the pressure on him, because obviously he wants that money, but changing out a belt might pay an hour, but it's going to take him an hour and a half.
Wow.
So now he's frustrated because he doesn't have the proper tools. He doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know how to do that.
So to work at this dealership, real quick question. You have to have your own tools. You bring your own tools with you?
Yeah.
The dealership doesn't provide any of that? They just have the lifts then?
The dealership provides the lifts, the compressor, the air compressor, the hoses, stuff like that. They provide special tools. So, but a lot of the guys buy their own special tools, because special tools, honestly, dude, people don't take care of it. People don't take care of that tool, and it's like, it's almost like, like when someone borrows something, they never put it back.
Right.
And before you know it, it's not there. So a lot of people buy their own special tools for that reason. Why? Because again, the object is to try to be fast at what you do so that you can make money. So I mean, the most I flagged in one day is 40 hours.
Wow.
Now to step back, take a step back and think about that. 40 hours, bro. That means that a person that goes to work for 8 hours a day,
5 days a week.
5 days a week, that's 40 hours.
Yeah.
I've done that in one day. And dude, it was like it's a badass feeling. I kid you not. You can do 40 hours in one day, and in this business, you can do 40 hours you can do 80 hours in one day. It doesn't matter. It's all your ability to do this job.
That's interesting.
Because here's the thing. If and I remember that day, so I had a timing belt and a 30K and all this and that, and so that job paid around, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours. Okay. I was able to knock that job out in 3. So in 3 hours I was done. Boom, boom, boom. Timing belt. I was done with the timing belt. I was done with my service, my 30,000 mile service. I was done with this and that. And then I think I had to do like brakes and alignment. I don't know, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was done like in 3 hours. And then at the same time, I've got another car that I got to do, say, brakes and this and that. Brakes pay 2 hours. Some places pay an hour and a half. But anyways, so I'm multitasking. And now here's the thing. When you, like for example, a hose. If you have a special tool to remove these clamps, these hose clamps,
mm-hmm.
you can do it like in 2 seconds, bro. You just put the tool over the clamp, you squeeze, it releases it. That tool's $100. A lot of these new guys that don't want to invest in their tooling because they can't. For one, They're not making a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
They're making $10 an hour. They're making $12 an hour. They're making $15 an hour. They don't have a whole lot of money, so they would rather use channel locks or whatever to, and it's the same shit. But honestly, dude, if you're struggling to try to get that hose clamp out, then you get frustrated because now you're thinking, God, I've been struggling with this thing for the last 5-10 minutes. I can't get this stupid hose clamp out. What the hell? Now all of a sudden they're stressed. They're this. They're that. That's why I learned. Get yourself your special tools, bro.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's gonna cost me $100, but it's gonna pay itself off. Dude,
No time.
I've got so many special tools because that's what they're there for. They're there to make your life a lot easier.
Well, I didn't realize the other day when I went to your garage, I was
Yeah.
blown away by how much everything costs. And I was looking at, you were showing me like, yeah, it's about $400. Yeah, this set $300. This kit right here is $5,000. I was like, what? He's just opening drawers, just telling me like, yeah, I have like 6 of the same tools right here, but you need this one for this car and this one for. It's ridiculous. I had no idea tools cost that much.
Yeah. And the toolbox alone.
Mm-hmm.
My toolbox, the one that I have is a Master Series toolbox.
Uh-huh.
It's around $8,500.
Wow.
That's empty, bro. Empty, nothing in it.
That toolbox?
The toolbox is $8,000. The tool cart is $1,000. So that toolbox, the two set.
So it sits on something?
Yeah, that's in my garage.
Uh-huh.
I got $9,000 just on the toolbox.
That's like the wallet. That's like paying for a Louis Vuitton wallet and then not having any money in it. And
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, bro. That's exactly what it is.
That's so funny.
I'll put it to you this way: you got a kid that's wanting to learn, wanting to change careers, whatever. He brings his little
Tool bag.
$200 tool bag or whatever. We trust him with oil changes and stuff like that, and obviously he wants to get better at what he does, and hopefully he starts investing into himself and he starts buying more tools. So what he does is he wants to, we want to trust him more. So we give him the belts, we give him, hey, go ahead and do brakes. Okay, yeah, go ahead and you can do this. Well, on a lot of these dealerships, you got experienced technicians that are like, well, that guy's just doing nothing but gravy, dude. Nah, bullshit. He needs to struggle like we all did. So we give him the check engine light, and all of a sudden you got this kid with no experience, check engine light, and he doesn't know what to do. I literally worked with people, dude, that would plug in the scan tool.
Mm-hmm.
They get a code, and as soon as they get a code, they'll call either the shop foreman or they'll call me. Gary, come here. Look, I got this code. Okay, what did you do? What have you done to try to figure out what's wrong with the car? Well, nothing. Bro, we'll figure it out. I'm too busy working on my own shit. I don't get paid to help you. So that attitude of I'm out there for myself. So now that kid is stranded on his own.
His own island.
And on his own island. And all of a sudden he's like, oh my God. But you, the customer, took your car to the dealership. And the service writer, hey Marcus, yeah, we could take care of that check engine light. No problem, man. Tell you what, drop it off with us. I'll give you a call in a couple hours. I'll give you an update. I'll let you know what's going on. Perfect. Now you feel all warm and fuzzy and you're like, hell yeah, my car's in the shop. It's getting looked at. We're going to figure out why it's running like shit. And I'm just going to go to work. Now you're at work. You're thinking this and this and that. Well, all of a sudden, because it's a game of roulette, the person that got the car is inexperienced. So now this guy says, man, first thing he should do is look for service bulletins, right? So every dealership, I worked at Honda, I've worked at Acura, I've worked at Hyundai, and I've worked at Kia. When a car comes in and I scan it, the first thing I look at is the code, okay? So say the code is a misfire code. Now my experience tells me what to do, right? But if I had no experience, I'd go and I go to the computer. I select what it is. So it's a 2013 Kia Optima. Boom, boom, boom. And I type in the code P whatever whatever, and the code will show. Okay, it's a misfire code, and it'll tell you and it'll explain to you what that code, what it means, what to look for, why does a code set, what is the computer looking at. The computer is looking at these values, and when it doesn't see this value, boom, it triggers a check engine light.
That's crazy. So, I mean, I don't know anything about cars, but so there's obviously, a system in the car that diagnose that, there's a reason why the check engine
Right.
light goes on, and then when you plug in the scanner,
Yeah.
what does that do? It just
So the scanner will read what kind of car it's got. Like, the scanner, these scanners are badass. You pop it in, even the newer
how much
ones.
are those?
Oh God, my scanner was $5,000, but it's an aftermarket.
What's wrong?
What's wrong with the car, so that you can do the same tests,
Similar to the dealership.
Similar, yeah, exactly. So
And that Snap-on, that's that brand of tools.
yeah, Snap-on. So you got Snap-on, Matco, you got Mac. They're all brand tools. Me, I'm a Snap-on / Matco kind of a technician. You got those guys that are like, a tool's a tool. Not really. If that's the case, Tony Hawk can get his skateboard from Walmart then, right?
Makes sense.
I
like that. I like that analogy.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no,
Yeah.
you're not doing tricks on a Walmart skateboard,
That's funny.
But anyways, and not only that, dude, I've seen mechanics, these technicians on their smartphones, Googling shit. They're at the dealership, bro. The most powerful tool is your computer that's hooked up to the server for that manufacturer.
Right.
And they're using Google, and they're going off of what other people say.
Wow.
I took my car to AutoZone, and they said it was this, and I replaced this, and it was that. Whereas, like, dude, you've got... Okay, so if nobody wants to help you, you can call TechLine. Everybody has a TechLine.
What is that?
So TechLine is a 1-800 number, and you basically punch in all the information, and that's another thing that can link up between the scan tool. You can actually...
Oh, really? Just transfer that?
Send them the information,
Okay.
and they'll tell you. They'll try to help you. They'll say, okay, dude, did you check for this and this and that? And then you got schematics, and you got them straight from the dealership, or straight from the manufacturer. Okay, this wire is supposed to be a yellow wire with a black tracer. You should get battery source voltage, which is your battery voltage. So if your battery is at 12 volts, you should get 12 volts there. Well, I'm only getting 3. Okay, you're dropping it somewhere there. So maybe we have a wire issue. So maybe it didn't need a sensor.
Wow.
Maybe it needed a wire. And so what happens sometimes is that you go back, check engine light, and all of a sudden we find out that shit, it was a wire. It wasn't even the sensor. So they'll fix the wire. Boom, fixed, done. Okay, I got my 12 volts now. It should work. Perfect. I fixed it. But now you as a customer got a little bad taste in your mouth because you went to the dealership. They charged you $325. The next day, the check engine light came back on. So now you're back because they called you and they said, "Hey, Marcus, we figured it out. We had to do some minor repairs, some minor adjustments, or we had to perform this update or whatever that the technician forgot to do, or we try not to blame. We try not to say that this guy's an idiot. Yeah. So we just try to say, hey, you know what, this guy, he's we try to put it like, oh, you know what, it was just it was 2 parts to it, but you know what, I'm not gonna charge you for that other one. Well, you shouldn't have charged me for the fucking sensor in the beginning. You should have just fixed the wire and charged me accordingly to what it needed.
Right.
And dude, I'm telling you, man, a lot of these places, and a lot of these places, they're in a bind. Okay, they need technicians. So anybody that comes in through that front door that has some mechanical background and needs a job, can you pass a drug test? Yeah, you're hired. Come bring your tools on Monday. We need your help. And all of a sudden, recheck after recheck after recheck. And what I mean is that a simple thing like an oil change. You go to the dealership, you get your oil change done. You drive in it. You notice on your driveway, you notice on your garage floor, there's oil drops. Oh, I just got my oil change. You call them, hey man, I did my oil change there on Tuesday. It's Friday. I've got drops on my floor. Can you guys?
What's up? Can you look at it?
What's up? Can you look at it? Loose drain plug. You know, it's just all those mental errors that a person can have
Mm-hmm.
that an experienced technician knows not to have. What can it happen to me? Yeah, it can happen to me. But I've learned from a early time or early stage in my career that when I'm dealing with oil
Mm-hmm.
or fluids and I'm ready to put that drain plug on, I have to have the wrench in my hand so that in case they say, Gary, hey, come here. So I'm using my fingers to put it back, right? To put the bolt back on there.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden they're calling me, Gary, come here. I can't just, if I were to stop and go
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
talk to the guy and be like, hey, what's up, man? Oh, this and this and that. Or can you give me a hand? You know, this, oh, yeah, yeah. Then I come back. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, I'm already done with the oil change. And then I push the drain bucket. I forgot to tighten the plug. I lower the car, put oil in it, ship it. Comes back the next day or a week later because it's got oil everywhere. Or,
Jeez.
worst case scenario, the drain plug makes its way out. All the fluids drain out
In a garage or something.
or on the road,
Oh,
and the engine locks up, and all of a sudden it's back on the tow truck
wow.
because you guys did my oil change, and now, 200 miles later, I'm on a hook. I'm on a tow truck on the way to the dealership. Dude, I have a friend. It happened to her twice. This should be a lesson to everybody that's listening. When you're going on a trip and you gotta change your oil, don't do it on the day that you're leaving. Don't do it. Do it a week before. Do it a few days before. Do your oil change a few days before your trip, only because just in case there's oil drops and you notice them
Right.
a day or two later. I have a friend. Happened to her twice. One leaving El Paso and the other time leaving Dallas. She's from Dallas. And it happened to her. She drives a Honda, takes it always to the Honda dealership. Took her Honda for an oil change. On her way out, literally on her way out, oil change, went home, got her luggage, put it in the car, was on the road.
Right.
Halfway down the road, car dies. Calls, calls me, but calls, what do you call it, AAA or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Because she's still under warranty.
Roadside assistance.
Roadside assistance. They tow her to the nearest dealership.
Uh-huh.
The dealership says, your drain plug's missing. Where did you get your oil change? "Oh, I got it at this Honda dealership." So they put her in a rental, obviously, because
Uh-huh.
that's, they have to. So they put her in a rental. They tow that car back to the dealer, and that dealer puts a new engine in it.
New engine?
A new engine in it.
New engine?
Yeah, because
the drain?
Because it's locked up. Because the oil's already drained out.
Uh-huh.
It gets hot because the oil's for lubricant.
Right.
So there's no more lubricant. It's dry.
Wow.
It expands. Metals expand at different rates. Locks up. She's done.
So it's done. That car's done.
It's
That engine's
done. They don't even rebuild engines, dude. They just replace a new engine. So
Wow.
So she'll get a new engine. So when she comes back from her trip, she goes to the dealership. They got her car.
Mm-hmm.
Is she happy? No. You're not happy, dude. Your car's got a new engine in it, and it's like, dude, nothing wrong with my old engine.
Yeah.
So
How much does that cost the dealership?
it probably cost the dealership like $5,000 or $6,000.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And those mechanics are covered. Is it like an insurance on their part? Like if they mess up,
If they mess up, sometimes they have to pay out of pocket.
they're liable.
They're liable.
Wow, the technician.
The technician.
That makes sense.
And it's no different than the lot attendants too. The lot attendants, if they wreck a car and it's their fault, I've done it when I was a lot attendant. I'll back up into something and then I pull forward and I go look, and oh man, there's just a little mark or little whatever. You just lick your fingers and rub it, and it's good.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope everybody at least pulled one or learned one thing in this podcast. Please click below, comment, like. You could comment how much you hate this episode, or you could say how much you love it. Definitely give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down. Let me know how I'm doing. Give me some feedback. Love you guys.